GM, and welcome to another episode of the Weekly Crypto Recap. My name is Josh Gordon, I'm your host, and let's dive into the biggest news stories from Web3 and crypto from this week. Story number one is we're going to talk about a massive announcement of new venture capital funding flowing into the Web3 space. So another $1.5 billion of capital is going to fund the next generation of the internet, and this is coming from Katie Haun. So I'm going to read this from her recent blog post. Today, we're announcing Haun Ventures, a firm designed from the ground up to help founders build the next generation of the internet. We raised $1.5 billion in capital to support the growth of Web3. We'll invest through two platforms, a $500 million early stage fund and a $1 billion acceleration fund. Now, this is the biggest fund ever by a solo venture capitalist, which is super impressive. And Katie's story is pretty wild too. So some backstory on her is she used to work for the venture capital fund A16Z, who's been a massive player in the space. This past week, they just announced they led the $450 million investment into Yuga Labs behind, Bored Ape Yacht Club. But before she was in venture capital, she actually had a very interesting career as a federal prosecutor, and she even worked on the case of the Silk Road. Katie's seen how crypto can be used in not the best ways, but she's also seen how crypto can be used for very innovative and helpful ways around the world. So she's someone who really has a great perspective on the Web3 space. So what does this mean for the broader crypto and NFT world? Well, more money coming into crypto means more talented builders are going to find their way into the space to build the products and services that we enjoy to use. More useful products and services get built, and then this leads to less speculation and more innovation that really is used by people around the world. So a sign of venture capital funding is always a leading indicator that more innovation, products, services are going to be built, more people are going to be working in this space, and that's just a positive flywheel. Katie goes on to say, and I'm going to read this more from her blog post, she wants to help create systems change. So she says, we'll partner with our portfolio to lead a global campaign for Web3 that combats misconceptions, engages policymakers, and highlights positive use cases, and wins the hearts and minds of leaders across all sectors. So we believe this approach will help lay the foundation for Web3 projects to support and reach 1 billion plus people around the world. So super exciting mission, and I'm stoked to see that she and her firm are not just focused on, investing, but also leading to positive system-wide change and engaging policymakers, because that's going to be a really integral part of Web3 succeeding long term. All right, story number two. We're going to talk about the NFL. So they announced this past week that teams can now sign sponsorship deals with crypto exchanges, wallet companies, and NFT companies like OpenSea or, dare I say, Unstoppable Domains one day. So that the NFL will vet every company for brand risk, and they won't allow individual NFT projects to be sponsored or show their images on specific teams. So we're not going to see like the Baltimore Bored Apes or Gutter Cat Gang is trying to get a partnership with the Jacksonville Jaguars. But what we will see are more deals league-wide, like they've done with Dapper Labs, where they did NFL moments, and Ticketmaster, where they did some Super Bowl NFTs to commemorate the event. So you may be thinking, well, why does this matter? Is this just, an NFL announcement? But I think that the NFL has a very wide-reaching audience, millions and millions of people weekly, and it's on TV networks, globally all year round. And so this will help crypto be seen in more places, which makes it feel less scary, And there's a lot of people out there, quite frankly, who still think crypto's a fad. They think it's dangerous, or they don't quite know what to think about it yet. But having the NFL collaborate with crypto exchanges and companies is really just going to help continue to get the word out there and continue the marketing. So I bet we're going to see Crypto.com make some pretty big plays in the NFL space. We did see them spend $700 million for a 20-year deal for the naming rights of what used to be the Staples Center in LA, and now it's the Crypto.com arena. And, we already know that Coinbase and FTX are going to make some moves in the NFL space as well. So I'm excited to see this happen. All right, with story number three, this is less of a breaking news story this week and more of a commentary on a narrative that I'm seeing pop up all over the crypto space that I think really needs to be talked about more. And it's about the Ethereum merge. So we've been seeing a lot of talk about the merge lately, what it means, when it's happening. So let's demystify some of that. So it's called the merge because there's literally a code update that's going to be happening soon to the Ethereum blockchain. So the beacon chain, which is a consensus layer, is going to merge with the current chain, which is the execution layer. And it's going to ditch the proof of work from the execution layer for proof of stake. So let's talk more about that. So consensus is really just a fancy word for the goal of ordering transactions and getting some kind of economic guarantee that this order won't change. So both proof of work and proof of stake achieve consensus in two different ways. Proof of work basically means it costs too much to mess up the order of the blocks, so playing by the rules is going to be lucrative. You literally need more computing power to change the block order, and doing so would be extremely cost prohibitive and essentially impossible. Now with proof of stake, it costs too much to mess up the order of the blocks because I'll lose all my money if I try to do so because I put money up as collateral. So with proof of stake, you actually have to put up collateral to become a validator on the network, and attempting to mess up the order would severely penalize you. So what does the merge ultimately mean? ETH is going from proof of work to proof of stake with one goal in mind, and that goal is less energy usage, more security, and eventually more scalability through faster transactions. Now, what changes, a big change here, is that people can stake their ETH. So if you have 32 Ethereum, you can stake your ETH and put your skin in the game to help validate transactions. And you can be rewarded financially through interest rates. So the previous model, proof of work, miners would validate transactions and they would get rewarded through these mining fees. But now, since we don't have mining, you can stake your Ethereum and get rewarded this way in a much more, compute friendly way. So you don't need a crazy mining rig. You can do so with just a computer. So should you care about the merge? I think the answer is yes. A lot of people think that this will drive up the price of Ethereum in the coming months. Now, there are many reasons for this, but one of them that's interesting is that there will be less sell pressure every single day. So right now, miners, they pull their money out that they earn from their rewards to literally cover the cost of their mining transactions. They have electricity and, hardware resources and bills to pay. So now without that sell pressure, which is about $40 million a day from these mining fees, there's less selling going on, which should lead to potentially price going up. Now, this is a big step towards scalability and lower fees, which can happen, down the road after this merge happens. And this could lead to more apps being used on the Ethereum blockchain, more adoption. And when we get more adoption and more usage, we know what that means for price. So when will this happen? Nobody knows for sure, except it's predicted to be in June over the summer right now. Now you can watch on whenmerge.com. Now the reason there's not an exact date is because the developers are working on it. They're vigorously testing and ensuring that there are no flaws, no errors that could be catastrophic to the Ethereum blockchain. Because anytime you do an update, there are some risks involved. So they're taking their time. No need to rush this. Potentially going to be happening over the summer. So in Unstoppable news, we have a really big announcement this week. We've got a massive celebrity and musical artist joining the Unstoppable Domains fam. Meek Mill, he's got 11 million followers, is a member of the Bored Ape Yacht Club, and is a Grammy-nominated recording artist and entrepreneur. Meek claimed his .nft domain this week and will soon be repping it on Twitter, so we're hyped about that. I'm just excited to see more big name players, joining the Unstoppable Domains family, and recognizing that owning your digital identity is part of this Web3 future we're building. So Meek, welcome to UD, and I'm excited to engage with you on Twitter and see what you do with your Unstoppable domain. Another Unstoppable announcement is we have 16 job openings across our engineering and product job roles. If you're looking to transition to a career in Web3 and you've got some product or engineering experience, we'd love to work with you. Check out the link in the description below for our open roles. We're actively hiring. We're growing our team. We've got some really big ambitions and sights set on what we want to build and how we want to contribute to Web3. So if you want to be a part of that, come on and apply. We'd love to work with you. For our community member of the week, I want to give a massive shout out to Laurent Nguyen. Now, we were running a Twitter banner promotion where we're creating Twitter banners for UD fan members with their Unstoppable domain in them. And Laurent actually made a really awesome tool for the community to use. So instead of our designer having to hand create each Twitter banner for UD fam, he made a tool where you can enter your name and the tool made it automatically for you. So he said, I just made this tool for the UD fam. I hope this will prevent your designer from quitting. I just wanted to let you know we all really appreciate it. And I just think it's awesome to see how others can build alongside us. It really hits on the ethos of composability that is Web3. So tag me if you're out there changing your Twitter banner to your Unstoppable Domains one. I think that's awesome to see. And Laurent, thank you for building and sharing that with everybody. For NFT Project of the Week, I want to give a shout out to FWeb3. Now, FWeb3 is a free learn to earn game where you can earn FWeb3 tokens through doing so. So there's 10,000 trophies available for winners. And what it does is it allows you to go in and complete a bunch of different challenges that ultimately lead to the final boss of deploying your own smart contract. So I've gone in and I've completed all my challenges except for that final boss. I'm working on it because that's a tough one. But it was created by Sahil Lavingia, who was on the podcast this past week. He talked about his experience with creating Web3 dApps. And I just think this is an awesome way to experiment and learn through education. So it takes you through minting, burning, swapping, sending tokens, and then deploying your own smart contract. So it's really thorough, but still in a easy to follow along and learnable fashion. So education through action. I'd love to see it. Would encourage you to check it out. Link below in the description. So thanks, Sahil, man. Awesome game. And I can't wait to see you continue to build in this space. And it was great talking to you on the podcast. If you haven't listened to my podcast episode with him, it's in our YouTube playlist or it's on Spotify and Apple Music at the Unstoppable Podcast. So that's it for this week's Crypto Weekly Recap. Please let us know what you want to hear in these videos. I appreciate a like and subscribing so you can follow on for more weekly content. Every week we've got a podcast dropping, we've got our YouTube clips dropping, we've got our weekly crypto recap. So be sure to follow me on Twitter, always sharing Web3 content. Look forward to talking to you next week. So see you then and see you in the metaverse. Peace out.